Hello and welcome to another edition of Moments with Mindleaps. I'm thrilled that you're joining us once again to hear one of these exciting interviews that we have with creatives, artists, dancers, all sorts of people who are part of the Mindleaps circle but are also really amazing, powerful people building interesting careers around the world, and we're so lucky to have the chance for them to join us. Oh my goodness, I'm going to add in Chase Johnsey. For those of you who are new to our program, my name is Rebecca Davis, and I'm the founder and executive director of Mindleaps, and I have the chance today to interview Chase Johnsey.
Hi.
It was almost like on call, Chase. I say Chase, and there you appear.
It's magic, the magic of Instagram.
I've been saying all along over these last few weeks, few months during the COVID period, that this is my favorite part of my job right now. I get to have these conversations with people like yourself who've inspired me and made me stay optimistic and positive through COVID and going forward. So Chase, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I love being a part of the Mindleaps family. I love it.
Our family is growing strong, and Chase has a really vast career in classical ballet. He's been a lead dancer with Trocadero, then he guested with English National Ballet, and now he's the artistic director of Ballet de Barcelona. So lots of interesting things that we're going to learn about today.
Yes.
Chase, the time that I've known you, you've shared with me a lot of different moments, very heartfelt stories, very honest stories about how there's been times in your life where if dance just wasn't there, you don't know where you would be today, which I think is what we've heard a lot of people in Mindleaps say, but there's something really powerful about some of those stories that you've shared with me. I wonder if you would be willing to speak a little bit about what dance does mean to you and what it's meant to you to build this type of career right now.
Well, I think that my love of dance has a lot of different layers and it's evolved over time. And I love that about my art. First of all, dance is sort of my meditation. It's my religion. It's the way I speak to the divine, if you will. So there's already that. But I think that like as a young person, I was really quiet and already really bullied, and I had a rough time in school. So then it became something that I was good at, that I didn't have to talk. If I was dancing to the movement, nobody was making fun of me. I was just there in the moment. And then once I decided, because, as ballet dancers, we have to choose really early our career, like, hey, you're 13 years old. What do you want to do with your life? Um,
Now or never.
yeah, it's like, it's strange to actually say that, but then it became like, okay, I want to make it, so then there was that challenge. Um, and then, it progressed, and then I became a professional, and then technically I wanted to push it. And then artistically I wanted to push it. And then I actually got burnt out at one point, and that's when I went to Rwanda. And I learned a different type of love of dance, which is when you teach other people dance. And that's a different type of satisfaction that I learned, the satisfaction of giving. And that led me to where I am now with Ballet de Barcelona. I do dance sometimes still, but it's fewer and fewer now because,
Really?
yeah, I
This
don't
is
know.
news to me, Chase.
I'm very busy. I'm very, being an artistic director is it's not simple.
Well, oh, it's really interesting for me to hear you say. I've heard some really interesting stories about your early life, but I had not heard that you were actually not interested in talking and a little bit shy of talking. Because when I told some people that I'm going to be doing moments with Mindleaps today with you, they were like, "Well, you're going to be speaking with the most eloquent dancer. You have become such a professional at interviews and representations and." Executing complicated messaging for so many different audiences. That's just one part of the huge professional career I've seen you build beyond just the point shoes. I wonder if you might touch on a little bit of how you also somehow developed those skills and those highlights on your professional career, which is still growing.
Uh, Wow, you're a good interviewer. um, I think that I think that words are important. I think we have to be careful with them. So so that there's one message in there that I like to be really careful with my words and to really think before I speak. Um, the other thing is it was necessary for me for all of the causes that I believe in, for all the messages that I have, all of the demographics that I represent. It's important that I know exactly my message and that I don't leave anybody out, and that I formulate it in a way that people that maybe don't understand it can understand it or question it. So I've had to cultivate that skill, honestly. Uh, and it's, yeah, I still get nervous. I'm nervous right now. Like, I don't know. like,
Well,
yeah,
nervous or not nervous, one day, Chase, when you're not super busy as an artistic director, I think you should go into consulting for artists and dancers on how to learn how to do messaging and communications. But we'll have that conversation not on Instagram.
yeah. Well, actually, that's a really interesting thing because I went through a lot of gender discrimination in my career, and or I felt like when I was like a lot of times I feel like there's some divide with directors and dancers, and that's sort of the foundation of Ballet de Barcelona is I want them to feel that I'm on their side, and that is I like dancers were taught to were seen but not heard. I actually have to force them to communicate with me, like tell me, tell me. So I do try to actually change a little bit of the future of dancers and tell them you need to speak up, you need to tell me how you feel, you need like because that's something that I was honestly scared to do, you know.
It would be so wonderful if every director could hear those words and try just for one day or one week or one rehearsal to really tap into that. When I was running a dance company before Mindleaps, I wish I had heard that message. And Chase, there's a bunch of our students and our dancers and our trainers joining us right now from North Macedonia and Rwanda. And one of the things that's interesting to tell you about our growing team in North Macedonia is that they are in love with classical ballet. So now that they know that you're a classical ballet dancer, it's going to be nonstop requests for you to fit North Macedonia into your schedule, Chase.
I am really, really, really wanting to go back and be involved and doing all that. I'll have to schedule some time off, but um, but you know, it's incredible that ballet transmits to so many people associated. I had that experience in Rwanda where I just found like some perfect little ballerinas at Mindleaps. It was like, what is going on here? So I'm sure that's the same situation
So
in
tell
that.
us a little bit about your time in Rwanda. I know that we've been fortunate to have you there a few times, and I've been fortunate to overlap with some of your trips and not other trips. And actually, one of the students that you refer to right now is Sonia, and Sonia was just on a WhatsApp group with a bunch of us today. So you should know that she's doing really well. She's excited to go back to school when COVID ends. And Sonia is one of the many students that you had such a deep influence on there. But I wonder, what are some of the memories that you take away from it? What are some of the impressions that stay with you now?
Um, well, Mind Leaps, I do you remember I was scared to go, first of all? Do you remember?
But
Because
all of you were scared to go the first time. That's not
yeah,
unique to you.
um, I was scared, and I was scared that I wouldn't be able to handle the reality that these children have. But actually, the opposite happened. They changed my life because of their perspective on life. They're really interesting individuals to get to know, and they're all of their stories, and so that was really useful for me. Also, seeing that the Mind Leaps. I'm gonna. I need to make sure that I look good. Sorry. um, also, seeing what the Mind Leaps curriculum does for the kids was really fascinating for me, and I saw it myself that the people that went there the first year were a bit more timid and shy, and then during the second year, how dance had influenced them uh, in every way, their creativity, their confidence, their learning skills, having hope in life in general. I thought that that was really fascinating to witness the work that you guys do with that. And then taking it into training, I trained the Mindleaps instructors there, and then some of the advanced kids joined in. And it was just amazing that I saw a younger version of myself in so many of these kids. Sonia, Abuba, Jean-Baptiste, Passy, Ishimwe, Rukundu, all of these people that the same fire that I had for dance, they had it too. And that was really intense for me to witness as a human, where they don't have a ballet company. They have, I think, one ballet studio there. Well, back then there was one, I think, City Arts it was.
The only one.
So, and some of them actually were really good. Like Sonia, I think the last time I saw her, she was already getting on point, I
Well,
think.
that's because of you. I
Oh,
specifically remember you sending me a message. I was in the US and you were still in Rwanda, and you're like, we're gonna put one of the students on point, okay, Rebecca? And I was like, But then
yeah.
I was like, okay, well, if it's Chase's decision, I think it's okay. And that came from this really special thing that I think happens when you go to Rwanda. These professional dancers that recognize the similarities across the art form and really believe in these youth. I mean, we see it on a day-to-day basis with the staff there, but when you come with a professional lens and say, this is the real talent, and you invest your time and your energy in these students, it goes so far in how they build going forward. I remember on your first trip when I was overlapping with you, Chase, I remember standing in the back of the Mindleap space and you were teaching développé. And I was like, this is like Vaganova class.
Yeah,
It's like
I am very
sweating
Vaganova in that way.
développé. And why I was so proud of that moment, though not proud of my développé, was that you didn't lessen the standards. These are the standards, these are the international standards, and the Mindleaps youth and youth in every context, no matter how vulnerable, still have that talent and that ability. It's not something that's for particular populations or particular people, and you saw that and you gave that to our students.
Well, that's one of the old views of classical ballet, is that it was seen as aristocratic and elitist. But in that studio in Rwanda, when I saw, Sonia or Abuba, those two stand out for me. It's that I saw the soul and the body and like a moving sculpture and a beautiful soul of a classical ballet dancer, and it's shocking in a way that, considering their circumstances, considering what they went through, I think I won't say who, but one of them only had a first grade education, that I saw the potential for a star dancer come out of that situation, and it's just remarkable. It's really remarkable, and it's life changing. It's profound, really.
Those are some of the many reasons why we can't wait for you to come back as soon as travel becomes possible, which brings us to our next question, which is the wonderful world of COVID. You've now you run a ballet company, and some people were asking me like, well, what do you have to do for your ballet company, Chase, during COVID? Are your dancers able to rehearse virtually online? And I'm so curious to hear the answers to those questions myself. What's been possible for you with your company and keeping yourself strong, staying motivated? Tell us your secrets.
Well, I'm lucky that I don't run it actually alone. I run the artistic components, and then Carlos, my husband, runs the executive components, and then we have a project manager, and the three of us really are we keep it all together, right? I think that as a director, it was really hard because it was like, okay, 2 weeks, make a plan. Okay, another 2 weeks, make another plan. Okay, maybe one more week, make another plan. And it was just make a plan, make a plan, make a plan, plan after plan. And then, of course, we arranged for the dancers to have like sort of a cross training class. But there were
Oh,
so many,
great.
yeah, there were so many. It was called the Adapt Method out of Madrid,
Oh,
and
wow.
but there were so many amazing classes from Tamara Rojo and Vladimir Malikov and all of these people. And I stayed in the mountain. Like right now, I'm living in the mountains. Like that's another side of me. I have chickens and dogs, and I just like it out here. Um, but so I didn't have proper Wi-Fi to give them class. So we provided that for them. And as soon as we could get back, we've been back for about a month now.
Oh, great.
But like things are opening up here. The theaters in Barcelona open up in September, so it's just hurry up and reorganize it. But luckily, I don't have to do it alone. Luckily, the dancers are really understanding, and they're really understanding of the situation. We have an amazing team, and we have a, a bunch of really amazing people on our side, I should say.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that, Chase, because in all the time that I've spent with you, I've constantly heard you share stories about people who've motivated you, people who have influenced you, and how conscientious you have been in keeping them updated and included in the many endeavors and career paths that you've followed. So I'm just so happy to hear that network of support is now supporting you in one of these most important ventures that you're doing. My only request is that somehow you figure out how to tour to Kigali, Rwanda.
Yeah, well, actually, the dancers, a bunch of them have been asking to become Mindleap certified and to go, and I would love for them to have that experience. We're Me and Carlos are constantly like we have all of our Mindleaps like stuff on our phone, and we love showing people that, and we've shown some to the dancers, and it's just yeah, it's a soft spot.
Well, we're totally excited to make that happen. I know Lamar is on here too, and Lamar and I are already starting to figure out how to make the magic happen as soon as possible. We also have Deanna joining us, who was one of our the trainers graduates last year, and then went to us and traveled to Guinea for Mindleaps. And Guinea's another country that we've talked about for Chase and Carlos in their future. So many options for you. Just reminding you, Chase.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's really important that the cultural impact that a ballet company can't only, or a ballet artist for me, I don't know, you can't just run on ticket sales and do shows. You can't just do production. I think cultural impact is so important, and it's definitely an important experience. And I'm happy that you guys have done so much. I think when I started, you were in Kenya, Mauritania, maybe? No, I don't
I
remember.
think
In
I'm pretty
Guinea.
sure we were only in 3 countries when you
Yeah.
first came to Rwanda. And even then, we were still figuring it out. So you should know that when you come back, you're also going to be impressed with what we've learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the other things, Chase, that's been really, I think, special about you in the time that I've known you is that you really think about the next generation, which I don't know is so easy to do for professional dancers when it's such a fight just to be finding your next job, making sure you're in condition to be on stage every night. It's hard to make that mental space to think about the people after you. But that's something I've seen from you from like the very first day that we met. And I wonder what advice you might give to those young aspiring artists. I mean, you've met them all over the world now, with kind of the constant evolutions of thought that you're having about the field. What would be your words of advice to these young artists now?
Well, I'm really excited about the new generation. One little thing was, like, at the time when I went to Rwanda, I had done like all of these like high profile press things, and the kids Googled me and saw me in drag, right? And I was like freaking out, and but like they were really cool with it and open minded about it, and I see that in the younger generation in general. They're a
Yeah.
lot more open, and they're maybe they don't understand, but I don't know. They're more open minded and curious, really,
Ah.
and so that excites me. And I think that if I were to tell a younger dancer some advice, it would be that it's okay to be like, okay, this is what I want to say. There's a lot of measures in ballet. For example, you have to have a certain type of foot, a certain type length of leg, certain proportions. Boys have to be certain height. You have to dance a certain way. You have to do certain steps. I would love to tell the youth of everywhere that it's okay to be the exception. It's okay to, if the rules don't apply to you because you're so good at what you do, right? Uh,
Mm,
and I deal with that now because I have an all-inclusive ballet company. We include everybody. So if the boys, if it says 180 centimeters, it's okay to be the exception to that. If the girls, if they want a certain type of thing, but you're just an amazing dancer and they take you anywhere, anyway, that's actually you're special, you know? So it's important to remember that even though there's all of these things that we think are standards, there's always room to break that. There's always room for you to carve a niche in for yourself and to change the whole uh, what anybody thinks. I did that because I wasn't going to let anybody tell me my limits, and and that's I think what that's my advice. I don't know if that
oh
made
man.
any sense at all, but you know.
It's like what you say is like it's okay to be the exception, and I hope youth and even people like me, everyone, should hear that message even outside of dance, right? So many times, no matter what the path is, we think, oh, we don't look like everyone else, so we're not hitting the same threshold as everyone else. That makes us wrong. But it's like that diversity that makes everything beautiful. I just think that that's such an important point, and I hope everyone hears that, yeah, being the exception is okay. And then also what you add in context is that because your quality is so brilliant, and that doesn't mean that there's a change in standards. Actually, it means that the standards apply to everyone else, and the exception is also something that stands out and makes it beautiful. Mm.
Yeah, because I love that. I think there's a lot of turmoil in the dance world. You know, there's a lot of issues that we haven't gotten over yet. And I think that the solution to that problem is that we appreciate authenticity more in the authenticity of each individual dancer for what they have to offer, and how unique they are, instead of really getting cookie cutter with it. That's what we're trying to do at Ballet de Barcelona. Follow us on Instagram. And but that's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to make that change, and I'm really proud of that. And I love having 20 different nationalities in the company. It makes me happy.
Incredible. Oh, when we were talking recently, and this will be my last deviation. We were talking about building good boards of directors for any type of organization. And one of our new board members said, it's the authenticity that you want. You want board members who are authentic with their experiences and their passion for the organization. And I love that you bring that back again to the dance world, which I think really, really needs that idea that authenticity is really the grace that we all want to appreciate and see on stage. Chase, so many of the conversations that we've had in Rwanda, in New York, in Harlem, now on Instagram, really, I just really cherish. I think you find words to say things that help us really think and help us really think about the things that matter, and not all of the confusion around the core messages. So I really want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for spending time with us on Moments with Mindleaps. The most important thing for everyone to hear here is Ballet de Barcelona, our favorite company that's embodying all of these incredible values and beautiful technical dancers. And is going to tour to Rwanda one day. I'll just go ahead and say it. uh, and Chase, we're so grateful for what you're doing now in Barcelona, but also for including Mindleaps and our family in your life.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being a let's see, you've been a mentor to me. You taught me so many things that are actually helping me now. As far as business, as far as business ethics, you know, morale, and also the incredible thing that you've created and helped create, and all the lives that you changed. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Jace. Give a huge hello to Carlos for us. For everyone joining us, thank you so much for spending time with Chase and me today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.